Okay, is everyone ready? Let's go. We're going to learn today about saying Shema, which is again is the most important one-liner we say every day, connect to Hashem. Number two, about davening. We're going to learn about a little bit about davening today. What's davening all about? So we're finishing up the laws in the Rambam about saying Shema. We went through yesterday. If someone's very busy doing a mitzvah, whatever mitzvah it is, you're busy saving somebody's life, shaking a lulav, whatever it is, you can just focus on that mitzvah. You don't need to focus on other mitzvahs. So therefore, if you're focused on getting married, you don't need to say Shema. If you want to, you're only allowed to say Shema if you're able to focus. They say these days because anyways people don't focus too much. We could say Shema even if you're not focused. But in general, you have to be focused when you say Shema. That's why Hasidim, before they say Shema, before they daven, when Hasidus, they think about God. That way they can be focused when they pray. They contemplate before prayer. They sort of make their mind straight and in order. We also said in this last chapter that women don't need to say Shema. The Rabbi explains that men and women have different jobs in this world, where a man and a wife, husband and wife, is two halves of one whole, but different halves. So the husband, it says in the Talmud, the husband brings the wheat and the woman makes the bread, which means the Rabbi explains the husband has to draw the light from God down here, to do the mitzvah, and the woman's job with the women is all about beauty, is to make it beautiful. So each one has different missions, and therefore the wife doesn't need to say Shema. They can sleep in if the baby is not up yet, like Isha said. Now, what happens if there's a levaya, like we're having tomorrow? Unfortunately, I think it's maybe Shimon's father. Somebody passed away. There's a levaya tomorrow. I think there's a levaya tomorrow. I'll put it this way. And the question is, when does the levaya need to happen? So the levaya should not happen during the time of Shema, because people have to say Shema, not be focused on the levaya. Going to the levaya, walking with the dead to the grave is a mitzvah. So you don't want to disturb both mitzvahs. We're going to try to keep it in a way they can do the mitzvah Shema and then do the levaya.
You cannot do the same.
What?
You cannot.
I'm a client. You have to stay away from that. So therefore, somebody which his father passed away, like it happened in the show today, Rabbi Kievman told him to take off its film, because until you bury a parent or someone that's one of the people that you have to say shiva for, you have to totally focus on them, on burying them. You can't do any other business. I mean, if you're in a place that there's no way of burying them, let's say in a case that, God forbid, if he dies in jail, I'm saying cases that it's impossible, and maybe you wouldn't say that. But in the case that you could bury them, you have to totally focus on the burial, and therefore you shouldn't do any other mitzvahs. Yeah, I told you I was by Levi, my friend, unfortunately, and right after Levi was 5 minutes before the sundown, him and all his brothers ran to put the tefillin on because they did not put it on before the burial. The only time you can do a Leviah during the time of Shema is when it's a great Torah scholar. Then we say that we sort of push off Shema. Of course, they say Shema a few minutes later, but not just sort of the time of Shema, which again is exactly by nates when the sun is, when you start seeing the sun in the sky. That time, if only if he's a great guy, we make the funeral event. In general, what happens during Shema? So if the people which are actually holding the casket don't say Shema, they're focused on the casket. If they're people which are let's say in line to hold the casket, also because they're about to hold the casket. If you're far enough that you can say the whole Shema and not have the chance to hold it, then you say the Shema, because you're not really doing the mitzvah literally of carrying the casket. What happens in some congregations, everyone sits together and they say how great the deceased was. You know what I'm talking about, right? So what do you do then? So if the dead man is sitting in front of them, like they put the casket in front of everybody, and someone comes up and says a speech and how great the person is, right? So if he's in front of them, each one should leave the room and say Shema. You shouldn't say Shema when he's there. In general, you should not say anything. You shouldn't read the words phone in front of the body.
But on cemetery you can do it.
In the cemetery, you cannot either say Shema or anything like that. You have to be 4 feet away from the grave or any dead body to say Shema or any words of Torah. Or even where it's sitting.
What was it? Kaddish, yeah.
Kaddish, yeah. You can't wear tzitzis outside in front of because you're making fun of the dead that they can't do the mitzvahs. Okay, so in the olden days there was a whole.
But even if you're in a car in a cemetery, you cannot.
If you're in a car, it's fine because you're not 4 feet close to a dead body or to a tombstone. If you're 6 feet close,
So you can say shema.
you can say shema. In general, a car is considered a rishus for place for itself. It's not considered part of the cemetery.
But if you have the water in the car, you cannot drink.
If you have water in the car,
While in the cemetery.
that's fine. If you're in a car, you're fine. In general, if somebody is not pure, he is allowed to say Shema. Ezra, the prophet that brought the Jews back to Israel from Babylon, so he made a rule that if you have relations or if you see zarab, sperm, then in your sleep, then you have to go to mikvah before you say Shema or learn Torah. However, Jews were not able to keep up with this, and therefore they took away this decree. And every Jew, no matter what situation you're in, no matter what aver you did, sin you did, everyone should say Shema. If you're standing in what is the last law of Shema, we're going to move on to davening. If you're standing in a row going to be menachem level to say the words of, so then if you're able to say Shema before, you're going to get them, say Shema. If not, you're doing the mitzvah of comforting the avelim, the mourners, and therefore you don't use Shema. Okay, now moving on to davening. Davening is the most enjoyable part for most people's day because davening is you can actually talk to Hashem. So the mitzvah of davening, the Rambam says, is to daven every single day. Men, women, and children. Daven every single day. What does that mean, daven every single day? It means daven when you want something. Not when you need something, when you want something. That's what the Rambam says. So you must daven to be a millionaire. If you want to be a millionaire for some weird reason, you have to daven to be a millionaire. Because everything you want, you should know. The only person you can ask is Hashem. He might not give it to you, but the only person that you even have a chance to get from is Hashem. And therefore, you have to ask Hashem for everything that you really want, even if it doesn't make any sense. You must do it once a day. Hopefully everybody has at least one thing they want. At least once a day, you have to ask Hashem for what you need. How do you speak to Hashem?
Besides, that.
Yeah, that's one second. That's it. How do you speak to Hashem? You're meant to first talk to Him respectfully. Say, amazing, wonderful, whatever Hashem. Any words you want to say. Great, nice, kind, all the good stuff. I want this. And then when you finish that, you're meant to say, thank you so much for all what you've done to me. So if someone is not up to davening every day, then he could do that. Now, the rabbis, Ezra and his beis din, they made a siddur for us to pray with because in his times Jews didn't know Hebrew so well, and they couldn't speak in one language. So apparently it's not the best thing to daven in so many different languages. And no Jews in the times of Ezra, ironically, it was weird, but they didn't know one language. All their whole dialect was a bunch of languages mixed together. So it wasn't appropriate to daven that way. So they made a siddur in Hebrew, straight out in Hebrew. But that's the technical reason. Really, in the siddur, every word is kabbalistically in an order that when you say those words, you're drawing down these lights, and if you just have intention with these words, it's the best way to connect to Hashem. However, if you don't have intention in any words you're saying, or you don't know Hebrew, you're not really doing the mitzvah, raw mitzvah of davening. Mitzvah of davening means you actually ask Hashem for something that you need. If you know Hebrew. Therefore, men, women, and children need to daven because it's not a time of the day. In general, the mitzvahs that women don't need to do are mitzvahs that are timely. This is not a time of mitzvah. Anytime you want something, you must ask Hashem for it. Yes.
Is that the regular davening?
The regular No. The regular davening is not from the Torah. The regular davening, like I said, is Ezra. The prophet Ezra made the siddur for people to have something to read in case they don't know how to make talk to God in the best way. And like I said, also kabbalistically, it's the best thing to do. women don't need to read the Siddur. They need to daven Hashem. They have to do what it says in the Torah. Because the Siddur is split up 3 times a day. Shachar, Mincha, Ma'ariv, and that is according to the 3 things, sacrifices they did in the temple. They brought the first Talmud every day. It means the morning animal, the sheep, and afternoon, which is Shachar, Mincha. And the third is the limbs of the animals which were on the altar, the online. That's what you do Ma'ariv. Ma'ariv is only optional. Because Jews did it so many times every single day, we made it for ourselves. They must. And also, it's also, I don't know if the Rambam says it over here, but it's also about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Avram daven shacharis, because like it says, he woke up early in the morning. Yitzchak daven mincha, like it says in the afternoon, he went out to talk in the field, which is talking davening Hashem. And Jacob, Yaakov daven Ma'ariv. There's a special davening which we're going to daven soon, which is davening of the Ilah. That's the special days that we're fasting. We have this tefillah called the Ilah, which actually, interestingly, what people say Ne'ilah means how to close the gates, but Ne'ilah or something like that. But the Rambam says Ne'ilah means the gates are actually closing because Shkia means that the sky is closing, it's turning dark. So on Shabbos and Yom Tov, we do Musaf. Because in the temple, not only did they the Tamid, which is the 2 sacrifices they did every single day in the morning and afternoon, there was a special sacrifice called Musaf, and that's why we read the Musaf every single Shabbos Yom Tov. So every day is 3, Shabbos Yom Tov 4, and Kippur 5, which is corresponding to the 5 levels of your soul, which you only reach on Yom Kippur. The regular time of year, we only reach 3 levels. Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama. On Yom Kippur, we reach the 5th level, which is the Chidah. The Shilish we do Musaf, right? Because we also in the temple we do Shilish, a sacrifice. If you want to daven all day, you can daven all day. Just you have to add during the davening. You can't just say exactly the same thing. You have to add, change it up. You can daven the whole day. However, you can't daven Musaf the whole day because Musaf was only once. You couldn't in the temple. You could bring how much animals you want as sacrifices, but you only could bring 1 Musaf. So Musaf, you only could say once, but the other davenings you could say 100 times if you're in the group. Davening is connecting with Hashem, and therefore you're meant to think the words you're saying, right? And it says that if you don't think what you're saying, it's like a body without a soul. The words are like a body without a soul. So therefore, it's very important to learn the meaning of the davening, especially before Yom Kippur. You know what the meaning of the words, because it's not only to say the words, it makes us to think the words and actually feel like you're talking to Hashem. Right. Just the first step of davening, talk straight to Hashem. And just talking to Hashem is what a Jew should want. Like it says in Tehillim, that what's the prayer of a poor man? To talk to Hashem. That's what it says. His prayer is to talk to Hashem. That's all I want. It's like the baby that when something bad happens, they go cry to the mother. They enjoy more the crying to the mother than the act. It's not about crying. What happens? More just they want to connect, right? So when we talk to Hashem, what we want is only an excuse for the conversation. But all we want is really to talk to Hashem. The highest part of a Jewish day is just keep talking to Hashem, because it's more. What makes us more lucky than talking straight to Hashem? Have a good night.
So which language is better? The one you understand?
Huh?